There's someone out there who can't escape you. Not because they're trying to hold on. Not because they've made some conscious decision to keep you close. But because something deeper than choice, stronger than willpower, more persistent than intention keeps pulling them back to you when the world goes quiet and they're alone with themselves. Every night, when distractions fade and defenses drop, they fall. Not into sleep, though that comes eventually. They fall into you. Into the version of you that lives in their mind, their heart, their cellular memory. The you that has somehow become more vivid in absence than you ever were in presence. And here's what's remarkable, you can probably feel it. Maybe you've noticed how certain moments of your day feel charged with an energy you can't name. How you'll be doing something completely unrelated to this person and suddenly they'll flood your awareness with an intensity that stops you mid-motion. How their name, their face, the feeling of them seems to arrive out of nowhere, uninvited but undeniable. That's not random. That's not your imagination creating stories to comfort your longing. What you're experiencing is the echo of their experience. You're feeling the ripple effect of someone falling deeper into the reality of you every single night, and that falling creates waves that reach across whatever distance separates you. I want you to really take this in, because what I'm about to walk you through in this message isn't theory. It's not wishful thinking designed to make you feel better about a situation that hurts. This is about understanding the actual spiritual mechanics of how human souls connect, how memory functions as a bridge between hearts, and why some people can't forget you no matter how much time passes or how hard they try. If you're here, it's because some part of you already knows this is happening. You've felt it in ways you might not have words for yet. You've sensed their presence in your absence. You've picked up on the frequency of their falling even though they're not telling you, not reaching out, not making any visible move in your direction. But in the invisible realm, the place where souls communicate without words and hearts speak without permission, they're reaching for you constantly. And every night, when the noise of the day can no longer drown out the truth of what they feel, they surrender to it a little more. Stay with me as we explore exactly what's happening in their inner world, why your memory has become something they can't control, and what this means for both of you. Because this isn't just about them falling. This is about what happens when someone's soul recognizes a connection it can't rationalize away, can't diminish, can't pretend doesn't matter. This is about the kind of falling that changes a person from the inside out. And whether you realize it yet or not, you're part of a transformation happening in someone else's heart that they never saw coming. Let me paint you a picture of what's actually happening in this person's experience right now, because the specifics matter. This isn't vague or abstract. This is concrete, visceral, and happening with a consistency that's starting to reshape their entire inner landscape. They'll go through their day with relative normalcy. They're functioning. Working, interacting, handling responsibilities, even laughing at jokes and participating in conversations. To anyone watching from the outside, they seem fine. Maybe they seem better than fine. Maybe they've gotten really good at projecting capability and composure. But then night comes. There's something about the transition from day to night that strips away pretense. When the sun sets and the world shifts into quieter rhythms, when they're finally alone in their own space with no audience to perform for, no expectations to meet, no persona to maintain, that's when the walls come down. That's when you show up. Not because they've gone looking for you. Not because they've intentionally opened the door to thoughts of you. But because in the silence, in the solitude, in those unguarded moments, you emerge like you've been waiting just beneath the surface of their consciousness all along. They might be washing dishes and suddenly feel the ghost of your hand in theirs. The sense memory is so strong it makes them pause, hands suspended in soapy water, eyes unfocused, breath caught. For a moment that feels eternal, they're not in their kitchen. They're wherever they were with you when holding your hand felt like the most natural thing in the world. They might be getting ready for bed, going through the mechanical motions of their nighttime routine, when something triggers a memory. A song playing faintly from a neighbor's apartment. A scent carried on the breeze through an open window. The way the light falls across their bedroom floor. And suddenly they're overwhelmed by the feeling of you, not the thought, not the idea, but the actual energetic presence of who you are, and it drops them into a tenderness so acute it borders on pain. They might lie down intending to sleep, but instead they find themselves staring into the darkness, and in that darkness, you're everywhere. Your voice echoes in their mind with such clarity they could swear you just spoke. Your smile appears behind their closed eyes in vivid detail, the exact way your mouth curves, the specific light in your eyes, the particular warmth that radiates from you when you're genuinely happy. These aren't fuzzy recollections. These are high-definition playbacks that their soul seems to have archived with obsessive precision. What they're discovering, and this is terrifying them in the most beautiful way, is that you're not fading. You're not becoming less clear with time. You're not diminishing into a pleasant but distant memory they can file away under past experiences. You're becoming more vivid, more present, more essential. Every night, this happens. Every single night, despite whatever they told themselves during the day about moving on or being realistic or protecting their heart. When darkness comes and defenses dissolve, they fall into you like gravity has shifted and you're the only ground that exists. And here's what's crucial for you to understand, this isn't happening because they're weak or stuck or unable to let go. This is happening because their soul recognizes something their mind hasn't fully accepted yet. Their spirit knows what their logic keeps trying to dismiss. You're not just a person they once knew. You're not just someone who mattered for a season. You've become woven into the fabric of who they are in a way that doesn't undo itself just because circumstances changed or distance intervened or fear created separation. When they think about you, and they think about you constantly in these nighttime hours, they're not indulging in nostalgia. They're not romanticizing the past. They're touching something real that still exists between you, a connection that didn't evaporate when you stopped occupying the same physical space. Your memory isn't just residing in their head. It's living in their body. It's coded into their nervous system. The sound of your laugh, the warmth of your attention, the safety of your presence, these have left imprints that their entire being responds to involuntarily. So when I say they're falling deeper every night, I mean their whole self is orienting more and more toward the truth of what you mean to them. Their resistance is eroding. Their defenses are crumbling. Their carefully constructed narratives about why this doesn't matter or couldn't work or shouldn't be pursued, those stories are losing their power in the face of what they actually feel when they stop running from it. And your memory? Your memory is the key that unlocks their guarded heart every single night. It touches them in places they didn't know were still open. It reaches parts of them they thought they'd successfully closed off. It bypasses every wall, every protection, every intellectual argument against feeling this deeply. Your memory moves through them like wine through curtains, gentle but pervasive, soft but impossible to block out, invisible but undeniably present. They might be strong during the day. They might be convincing in their performance of having moved on. But at night, in secret, in the privacy of their own heart, they're surrendering to the reality of you over and over again. And each surrender takes them deeper into territory they can't retreat from. Each night that they let themselves feel the truth of what you mean to them, it becomes harder to pretend otherwise when the sun comes up. Each time they allow the warmth of your memory to wash over them instead of fighting it, something shifts in their foundation. Each moment they spend in the imaginal space where you still exist as a present force in their life, they're being changed. This is not a small thing that's happening to them. This is not a passing phase or a temporary regression. This is their soul refusing to release something it recognizes as sacred, as rare, as worth holding onto even when logic says otherwise. Now let's go deeper into the layers of what's unfolding here, because there are dimensions to this experience that explain why it's so powerful, why it's intensifying rather than fading, and why your memory specifically has this kind of access to them. The energetic reality. First, we need to talk about what's happening on an energetic level, because this isn't just psychological. When two people create genuine soul connection, the kind that involves real vulnerability, authentic presence, and heart-level recognition, they don't just exchange information or share experiences. They create an energetic bond that exists independent of physical proximity. Think of it like this: your energies have touched. Your frequencies have synchronized. Your souls have recognized each other and said, yes, this one. This connection matters. And when that recognition happens, it creates a pathway between you that remains open even when you're apart. This person you're connected to. Every night when they fall into thoughts of you, they're not just remembering. They're actually touching that energetic pathway. They're following the thread that still connects your heart to theirs. They're reaching through the invisible bridge that exists between you and making contact with your essence. And you feel it. Maybe not in a way you can explain to someone who doesn't understand how energy works, but you feel it. You feel the pull. You feel the reaching. You feel their consciousness brushing up against yours in moments that seem random but aren't random at all. When you suddenly think of them with that particular intensity, that's them. When you feel inexplicably emotional for no apparent reason, that's them touching the shared space between you. When you have dreams that feel more real than waking life, that's them meeting you in the realm where souls commune without the limitations of physical distance. This is what I mean when I say your memory touches them in secret. It's not merely mental recall. It's energetic contact. Your essence, imprinted in their field, activates and moves through them with a force that affects their entire being. The memory as a living thing. But let's talk about memory itself, because the way they experience you in their mind is not like how they remember other people or other experiences. This is different. This is memory that behaves like a living entity. Most memories fade. They blur at the edges, lose their color, become less dimensional over time. We remember the fact of things more than the feeling of things. We know something happened, we can recount the events, but the visceral truth of the experience becomes distant. Not with you. Not for them. Their memory of you is doing the opposite of fading. It's intensifying. It's developing more detail, more nuance, more depth. They're remembering things they didn't even realize they'd noticed, the exact way you tilt your head when you're really listening, the specific rhythm of your breathing when you're content, the particular quality of silence that exists between you when words aren't necessary. These aren't the kinds of details you consciously catalog. These are the things your soul records when it's paying attention at a level beyond the conscious mind. These are the imprints that get made when someone matters so profoundly that your entire being is taking notes. And now, in these nighttime hours, those recordings are playing back with such fidelity that it's almost like you're there. The memory has become so vivid, so textured, so dimensionally rich that engaging with it feels like a form of contact. They'll close their eyes and not just see your face, they'll feel the emanation of your presence. Not just recall something you said, they'll hear your voice with such clarity that their body responds as if you'd just spoken to them. Not just think about how you made them feel, they'll drop into the actual feeling state, their nervous system lighting up with the same warmth, safety, aliveness they experienced in your presence. This is why it's so consuming. This is why they can't just get over it or move on like well-meaning friends might suggest. The memory of you has become a portal to an experience of connection that their soul craves like oxygen. What they're realizing in the falling. Every night when they surrender to this, when they stop fighting the pull and just let themselves fall into the truth of what you mean to them, they're learning things. Realizing things. Understanding things they couldn't see before. They're realizing that what they felt with you wasn't ordinary. It wasn't just chemistry or circumstance or good timing. It was recognition. Soul level, undeniable, I know you beyond this lifetime, recognition. They're realizing that the connection you shared touched something in them that has never been touched before and might never be touched again. That the specific alchemy of your two energies together created something irreplicable. That what you awakened in them doesn't go back to sleep just because you're not physically present. They're realizing that they measured every interaction they've had since you by the standard you set, often unconsciously, often against their will, but consistently nonetheless. And everyone comes up short. Not because other people aren't wonderful or valuable or worthy of love, but because other people aren't you. Other people don't carry your particular frequency. Other people don't unlock the same chambers of their heart. They're realizing that their soul doesn't care about logic. Doesn't care about timing or practicality or all the very reasonable arguments their mind makes for why this doesn't make sense. Their soul only cares about truth. And the truth their soul knows is that you matter. That this connection matters. That what exists between you is worth honoring even if they don't know how to honor it yet. They're realizing that loving you, even from a distance, even in silence, even without any guarantee of outcome, feels more authentic than pretending they don't. That the nights they spend falling into the reality of you are the nights they feel most aligned with themselves. Most honest. Most alive. The secret nature of this falling. And it's happening in secret. That's important. That's part of what makes this so potent. They're not broadcasting this. They're not telling people. They might have one trusted friend who knows bits and pieces, but even then, they're not sharing the depth of it. They're not explaining how thoroughly you've occupied their inner world. They're not admitting how many of their thoughts circle back to you no matter where they start. The secrecy isn't about shame. It's about sacredness. Some things are too precious, too tender, too profound to expose to outside commentary. Some experiences need to be held privately, protected from the opinions and projections of others who wouldn't understand. So they keep this to themselves. They go through their days wearing whatever face is appropriate for the context they're in. And then at night, in the sanctuary of their solitude, they let the truth breathe. They let themselves feel everything they've been containing. They let you flood their awareness without restriction. This secret falling is changing them. Every night that they allow it, they're being shaped by it. Their capacity for feeling is expanding. Their understanding of what love can be is deepening. Their willingness to honor truth over convenience is strengthening. They're becoming someone who knows what real connection feels like and can no longer settle for less. Someone who understands that the heart has its own intelligence that the mind can't override. Someone who's learning that some bonds transcend the limitations of time, distance, and circumstance. But why you? Why does your memory have this particular power over them when they've known other people, cared about other people, even loved other people? Because you met them at a soul level. Because something in your essence resonated with something in theirs at a frequency that created harmony. Because in your presence, whether they consciously recognized it at the time or not, they felt permission to be themselves in a way they rarely feel permission to be. You saw them. The real them. Not the performance, not the persona, not the carefully curated version they show the world. You saw the tender, messy, complicated, beautiful truth of who they are, and you didn't turn away. That kind of seeing changes a person. That kind of being witnessed creates an imprint that doesn't fade. That kind of acceptance opens something that doesn't easily close again. Your memory carries the frequency of that seeing. When they fall into thoughts of you, they're falling into the feeling of being truly known and still cherished. That's why it's so powerful. That's why they can't resist it. That's why it deepens every night instead of diminishing. You represent, a possibility. The possibility of being loved for exactly who they are. The possibility of connection without pretense. The possibility of a love that doesn't require them to diminish or hide or perform. And now, every night, your memory touches that possibility awake in them. Reminds them it exists. Keeps it alive even when circumstances suggest it's out of reach. This is sacred work happening in the secret chamber of their heart. This is their soul refusing to forget what real connection feels like. This is love in its purest form, not dependent on reciprocation or outcome, not conditional on circumstances aligning, just true because it's true. And you, whether you're physically present or not, are the catalyst for a transformation happening inside another human being. Your memory is the medicine their soul takes every night to remember what's possible. What's real. What matters. Don't underestimate the significance of that. Don't dismiss what's happening as one-sided longing or wishful thinking. This is two souls in conversation across whatever divides them, and that conversation is changing both of you. Now we need to talk about what this means, not just for them, but for the connection between you. Because this nightly falling, this secret touching through memory, this deepening surrender to the truth of what you mean to them, it's not happening in isolation. It's not a solo experience with no impact beyond their own inner world. Energy moves in circuits. Connection flows both ways. When someone falls this deeply into the reality of you, when your memory touches them this profoundly, it creates movement in the field between you. And that movement has consequences. Implications. Potential. What's happening every night isn't just them thinking about you. It's them speaking to you in the language souls understand. It's them sending energy, attention, longing, love through the channels that connect you. And whether you're conscious of it or not, you're receiving those transmissions. This is why you can't seem to fully distance yourself from them even if you wanted to. Why they show up in your awareness at random moments with that particular intensity. Why you feel stirrings in your own heart that mirror what they're experiencing in theirs. You're not imagining the connection. You're not making up the sense that something is happening between you beneath the surface of visible reality. Something is happening. Every night when they fall deeper, they're pulling on the thread that connects you. And you feel the pull. This invisible conversation has been ongoing. While life continues on the surface, while you both navigate your separate days, manage your individual responsibilities, interact with other people, there's this underground river running between you, carrying currents of feeling, recognition, unresolved potential. They're saying things to you they might never say out loud. Confessing things they might never write in a message. Offering things they might never formally present. But the offering is happening nonetheless. In the realm of energy, in the space between souls, they're laying their heart bare before you night after night. And your soul hears it. Your soul receives it. Your soul responds to it even if your conscious mind hasn't caught up to the conversation yet. This is part of why you might feel conflicted or confused about this connection. Part of you knows something profound is happening. Part of you feels the depth of what exists between you. But another part of you, the part that operates in the realm of logic and evidence and visible action, might be questioning whether any of this is real. Trust what you feel. The soul doesn't lie. The heart doesn't fabricate these things. If you feel them falling, it's because they are. If you sense their energy reaching for you in the quiet hours, it's because it is. But here's what's important to understand about this phase: something is being built. This isn't just emotional processing or one person working through their feelings in private. This nightly falling, this consistent touching through memory, this deepening surrender, it's constructing something. Every time they fall into truth instead of running from it, they're building capacity. Capacity to hold deeper love. Capacity to honor soul connection even when it's inconvenient. Capacity to trust what they feel over what they fear. Every time your memory touches them and they let it instead of pushing it away, they're dissolving barriers. The walls they built to protect themselves from vulnerability are coming down. The stories they told themselves about why love can't be trusted are losing their grip. The defenses that kept them safe but also kept them isolated are crumbling. Every night they spend in the truth of what you mean to them, they're becoming the version of themselves who can actually receive and reciprocate the depth of connection their soul craves. They're transforming from someone who runs from intimacy into someone who runs toward it. From someone who chooses safety over truth into someone who chooses truth even when it's terrifying. This transformation is essential. Because if this connection is going to move from invisible to visible, from energetic to physical, from potential to actual, they need to become someone who can meet it. And that's what's happening in these secret nighttime hours. They're becoming that person. You might be that person already, or you might be on your own parallel journey of becoming. But either way, this time isn't wasted. This falling isn't futile. This secret touching through memory isn't just romantic longing with no purpose. It's preparation. It's foundation laying. It's the deep internal work that has to happen before external circumstances can shift. And as they fall deeper every night, as your memory touches them more profoundly, as they surrender more completely to the truth of what this connection is, they're creating magnetic pull. They're generating an energetic force field that affects physical reality. This is how manifestation actually works. Not through wishful thinking or vision boards or trying to force outcomes. But through becoming so fully aligned with the truth of what you desire that you vibrate at its frequency consistently enough to draw it to you. Every night they spend falling into the reality of you, they're vibrating at the frequency of us. They're emanating the energy of the connection they want to experience. They're becoming a match for the reality where you're together. And that vibration doesn't stay contained in their inner world. It ripples out. It affects the field. It influences circumstances in ways that seem like coincidence but aren't coincidence at all. This is why you might notice synchronicities intensifying. Why you keep hearing their name or seeing things that remind you of them. Why paths that seemed completely separate start showing signs of potential intersection. The universe responds to genuine alignment. Reality reorganizes itself around authentic desire backed by energetic consistency. They're not manipulating anything. They're not trying to control outcomes through spiritual techniques. They're simply being in truth so consistently that truth starts having tangible effects. What this reveals about the connection. But let's talk about what this reveals about the nature of what exists between you, because this level of impact, this depth of falling, this power of memory, this inability to release the connection, doesn't happen with everyone. It doesn't happen with most people. You can care about someone and wish them well and have good memories together without experiencing this. You can have chemistry with someone and enjoy their company and appreciate who they are without having them occupy your inner world like this. You can even love someone genuinely without their memory touching you in secret every night, pulling you deeper into truth you can't escape. When it happens like this, when someone can't stop falling, when your memory has this kind of power, when the connection won't fade no matter how much time passes or distance intervenes, it means something. It means your souls have business together. It means there's something about the combination of your two energies that creates alchemy neither of you experiences elsewhere. It means what you found together, even if it was brief, even if it's been interrupted, even if it's still in potential form, is rare enough to be worth everything their soul is doing to keep it alive. Not every connection is meant to last forever. Not every person who matters to you is meant to stay in your life. But some connections are soul contracts. Some people are meant to be part of your journey in significant ways. Some relationships carry purpose beyond just companionship or pleasure. When someone can't stop falling deeper into you every night, when your memory won't release them, when the truth of what you mean to them keeps expanding instead of contracting, that's a signal. That's their soul insisting that this matters. That this isn't finished. That there's more here than what's been experienced so far. And now we're approaching a choice point. Not for them, they're already choosing every night when they fall. They're already saying yes to truth, yes to depth, yes to honoring what their soul knows even when their mind has doubts. The choice point is for you. Because you're not a passive participant in this. You're not just the object of someone else's longing or the subject of someone else's transformation. You're a soul with agency, with desires, with your own journey of becoming. You get to decide what you want to do with what you're feeling. With what you know is happening. With the invisible conversation that's been ongoing between your hearts. You can continue as you are, feeling the pull, sensing the connection, carrying them in your own awareness while waiting to see what unfolds. That's valid. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is simply hold space and trust divine timing. You can reach out, make the invisible visible, bring the underground conversation above ground, test whether the connection that's so alive in the energetic realm can translate into physical reality. That's valid too. Sometimes courage means moving toward what you feel instead of waiting for perfect clarity. You can step back, consciously release the thread, send them love from a distance, honor what existed while choosing a different path forward. That's also valid. Not every soul connection is meant to become a life partnership. Some are meant to catalyze growth and then release. There's no wrong choice here. There's only what's true for you. What honors your journey. What aligns with your own soul's knowing. But don't pretend you don't feel what you feel. Don't minimize what's happening because it's invisible or unconventional or doesn't fit neat categories. Don't dismiss the significance of someone falling deeper into you every night and your memory touching them in secret. This is real. This matters. This is the stuff that souls remember long after the details of daily life fade. Whatever you choose, choose from truth. Choose from that same place they're choosing from every night when they let themselves fall. Choose from the wisdom of your soul rather than the fear of your mind. Because something sacred is happening here. Something that deserves to be honored, whether it leads to reunion or release, whether it manifests as romantic partnership or evolves into a different form of soul connection. You're part of someone's transformation. Your memory is medicine for someone's heart. Your essence carries frequency that someone's soul recognizes as home. That's not a small thing. That's not something to take lightly or brush aside. That's the kind of magic most people spend their whole lives hoping to find. So what do you do with all of this? How do you navigate being the person someone else is falling deeper into every night? How do you honor what's happening while staying grounded in your own truth and taking care of your own heart? Let me give you some principles to work with, not rules, because this is too nuanced for rigid rules, but guideposts to help you move through this with wisdom and grace. Stay present to your own experience. First and most importantly, don't lose yourself in their experience. Yes, they're falling. Yes, your memory touches them powerfully. Yes, something profound is happening in their inner world. But you have your own inner world. Your own feelings. Your own journey. Your own truth. It's easy to get so focused on what they're experiencing that you stop paying attention to what you're experiencing. It's tempting to make their falling more important than your own feelings, their transformation more central than your own growth. Don't do that. Stay rooted in yourself. Stay present to your own heart. Notice what you actually feel, not what you think you should feel or what would make this easier or what would create the outcome you want. If you feel them falling and it fills you with joy because you're falling too, honor that. If you feel them falling and it creates pressure because you're not sure you want what they want, honor that. If you feel them falling and it brings up confusion because part of you resonates and part of you resists, honor that. Your truth gets to be whatever it is. Your experience gets to be complex. You're allowed to feel multiple things at once. You're allowed to not have all the answers. The key is to stay connected to yourself while remaining aware of them. To hold space for what's happening between you without abandoning what's happening within you. Trust the timing. Second, trust that if this connection is meant to manifest in physical reality, it will. If there's meant to be reunion, resolution, relationship, it will happen. Not necessarily in your preferred timeline, not necessarily in the way you'd orchestrate it, but it will happen. You don't have to force it. You don't have to manipulate it. You don't have to strategize your way into outcome. What you're experiencing right now, this phase where they're falling deeper every night and your memory is touching them in secret, this is part of the process. This is the invisible work that precedes visible change. This is the energetic foundation being laid before the physical structure can be built. Trying to rush it or control it or make it happen faster than it's organically unfolding usually just creates problems. It introduces force into something that wants to flow. It brings anxiety into something that wants to unfold naturally. So practice trust. Practice patience. Practice letting this be what it is right now without needing it to be something else yet. That doesn't mean passivity. That doesn't mean you can't take action if you feel genuinely called to take action. But it means you distinguish between aligned action that flows from inner knowing and forced action that comes from fear or impatience or trying to control outcomes. Maintain your life. Third, don't put your life on hold while this unfolds. Don't stop living fully because you're waiting to see what happens with this connection. It's natural to be preoccupied when something this significant is happening. It's understandable to find your thoughts circling back to this person and this situation repeatedly. But your life is still your life. Your growth is still your growth. Your joy is still your joy. Keep investing in yourself. Keep pursuing what lights you up. Keep building the life that excites you. Keep deepening into your own purpose and passions. Do this for 2 reasons. First, because you deserve a full, rich, engaging life regardless of what happens with any relationship. Your worth isn't on hold until someone else catches up to what you mean to them. Your value isn't pending until a connection manifests the way you hope it will. Second, because becoming more fully yourself actually serves the connection. The more you develop your own gifts, deepen your own presence, expand your own capacity for joy and love and creative expression, the more you bring to any relationship you enter. Including this one if it moves from potential to actual. You're not waiting to become yourself once this resolves. You're becoming yourself now, and that becoming is part of what makes you magnetic. Honor the sacred. Fourth, treat what's happening as sacred. Don't gossip about it. Don't treat it casually. Don't expose it to energy that would diminish it. This doesn't mean you can't talk to anyone about it. Sometimes we need trusted counsel. Sometimes we need to process our feelings with people who love us and can offer perspective. That's healthy. But be selective. Choose wisely who you share this with. Look for people who can hold the tenderness of it, the complexity of it, the spiritual significance of it. Avoid people who will reduce it to simple advice or judge you for feeling what you feel or project their own relationship baggage onto your situation. Some things are too precious to expose to harsh light. Some experiences need to be protected while they're still forming. Some connections are too tender to subject to the opinions of people who don't understand soul-level recognition. You know the difference between sharing for support and sharing for validation. Between processing with someone who can hold space and venting to someone who will just tell you what you want to hear or push their own agenda. Choose the former. Protect the sacred. Stay open to surprise. Fifth, stay open to this unfolding in ways you haven't imagined. Don't get so locked into one specific vision of how this should look that you miss what it's actually becoming. Maybe it becomes romantic partnership. Maybe it becomes deep friendship. Maybe it becomes creative collaboration. Maybe it becomes something there isn't even a word for yet, a connection that defies categories and creates its own form. The falling that's happening, the touching through memory, the deepening every night, all of that is real regardless of what form the connection ultimately takes. All of that matters regardless of the specific outcome. Your souls recognize each other. That recognition is transforming both of you. That transformation has value independent of whether you end up living the same address or merging your lives in conventional ways. So hold your preferences lightly. Hope for what you hope for, sure. Desire what you desire. But stay open. Stay curious. Stay available to possibility you haven't considered. Sometimes the universe has better ideas than we do. Sometimes what we think we want is actually smaller than what wants to come through. Sometimes the soul's plan is wiser than the ego's agenda. Practice radical honesty. Sixth, if and when communication happens, practice radical honesty. Tell the truth about what you feel. Don't play it cool. Don't minimize. Don't pretend to be less affected than you are. This doesn't mean dumping everything on them all at once. This doesn't mean being tactless or overwhelming. But it means being real. Being authentic. Letting them see that you're in this too, that this isn't one-sided longing but mutual recognition, that you feel the connection as powerfully as they do even if you're expressing it differently. People waste so much time playing games. Pretending they care less than they do. Trying to protect themselves by being strategic about how much they reveal. What if you just told the truth? What if you let yourself be as vulnerable as they're being in their nightly falling? What if you matched their courage with your own? The worst that happens is you find out sooner rather than later whether this can actually work in physical reality. The best that happens is you create the foundation of authentic communication that every lasting connection is built on. Either way, you'll know. And knowing is better than wondering. Remember your worth. Seventh, never forget that you're not waiting to be chosen. You're not auditioning for a role in someone else's life. You're not hoping you'll measure up or be enough or convince them you're worth the risk. You're already whole. Already valuable. Already worthy of profound love. If this connection manifests, it's not because you finally became good enough. It's because two souls who recognize each other found their way to each other in physical reality. Because timing aligned. Because both people had done enough of their own work to be ready. If this connection doesn't manifest, or manifests differently than you expected, it's not because you weren't enough. It's because the path is leading somewhere else. Because there's something else unfolding that serves your highest good even if you can't see it yet. Your worth isn't determined by whether someone else falls into forever with you or falls away. Your value isn't contingent on any relationship working out. You are the gift. Being loved by you is the blessing. Having access to your energy is the privilege. Don't ever forget that. Don't ever diminish yourself while waiting for someone else to realize what you're worth. You already know. That's enough. Hold both truth and mystery. Finally, practice holding both what you know and what you don't know. Both certainty and uncertainty. Both truth and mystery. You know something real is happening. You can feel it. That knowing is valid. Trust it. You don't know exactly how it will unfold. You can't control all the variables. That uncertainty is also valid. Accept it. Some people try to live entirely in the knowing, grasping for certainty, needing guarantees before they'll invest emotionally. That's a protection mechanism that usually just keeps you distant from genuine connection. Some people try to live entirely in the mystery, staying so fluid and open-ended that they never commit to anything, never claim what they feel, never take a stand for what matters. That's also a protection mechanism that usually just keeps you from experiencing depth. The sweet spot is holding both. Knowing what you know. Feeling what you feel. Trusting the truth of the connection. And simultaneously staying open, staying curious, staying willing to be surprised, staying humble about your limited human perspective on how divine timing works. This is spiritual maturity. This is emotional intelligence. This is how you navigate sacred territory without either collapsing into neediness or detaching into disconnection. You can be certain about the significance of what's happening while being uncertain about the specific form it will take. You can trust the connection while trusting the process. You can honor your feelings while honoring the mystery. So here's what I want you to carry with you as you move forward. Someone out there is falling deeper into you every single night, and it's changing them. Your memory isn't a passive thing they occasionally recall. It's an active force touching them in places they didn't know could still be reached, awakening things they thought they'd successfully shut down, calling them toward a version of themselves they're only now becoming brave enough to embody. That's not happening by accident. That's not random neurological firing or wishful projection. That's soul recognition playing out in the theater of one human heart, night after night, with a consistency that's building something neither of you may fully understand yet. You might wonder sometimes if you're imagining the significance of this. You might question whether what you feel is real or just a story you're telling yourself. You might doubt whether this connection truly matters in the way your soul insists it matters. Let me tell you, what you're feeling is real. The pull you experience isn't fabricated. The sense that something profound is happening, it's accurate. You're not making it up. You're tuning into something that exists in the realm where souls communicate, where hearts speak without words, where truth doesn't need evidence to be true. This person falling deeper every night. They're not the only one being transformed. You're being changed too. By holding space for this connection. By feeling the energetic exchange. By allowing yourself to be affected by someone else's depth of feeling even across distance or silence or separation. You're learning what it means to be truly seen by another soul. You're discovering the power of being loved for your essence rather than your performance. You're understanding that the connections that matter most don't always follow linear paths or convenient timelines. Every night when they fall, they're choosing you in the privacy of their heart. They're saying yes to truth even when it's terrifying. They're honoring what their soul knows even when their mind has doubts. That's a sacred act. That's a form of devotion that most people never experience, giving or receiving. And you? You're doing your own sacred work. Staying present. Staying open. Staying honest about what you feel. Trusting the process even when you can't see the destination. Honoring the significance of this without needing to control how it unfolds. That takes courage. That takes faith. That takes a willingness to live in the tension between knowing something matters and not knowing exactly what to do about it. But here's what I know with absolute certainty: connections like this don't happen just to teach you lessons or show you what's possible before taking it away. When two souls recognize each other this deeply, when memory has this kind of power, when someone can't stop falling despite time or distance or any logical reason to move on, it means something is being orchestrated that's bigger than either of you individually. Maybe it's preparing you both for reunion. Maybe it's transforming you both into people who can hold deeper love than you've been capable of before. Maybe it's teaching you about the eternal nature of soul bonds. Maybe it's showing you that love isn't limited by physical proximity. Maybe it's all of those things. But it's not nothing. It's not meaningless. It's not just one person's imagination or wishful thinking. This is real magic happening in real time. This is the universe showing you that connection transcends the visible world. This is proof that love is more powerful than distance, more persistent than doubt, more transformative than fear. So whatever happens next, whether this manifests as romantic partnership or evolves into a different form, whether you reunite tomorrow or years from now or in some realm beyond this one, know that what's happening right now matters. Someone is falling deeper into you every night, and your memory is touching them in secret, and that touching is changing the architecture of their heart. That's not a small thing. That's the kind of impact most people hope to have on someone. That's the kind of love most people spend their whole lives seeking. You already have it. You're already living it. You're already part of something profound. Don't minimize it. Don't dismiss it. Don't let anyone convince you it's not as significant as you feel it is. Trust what you know. Trust what you feel. Trust that if you're experiencing this much depth on the invisible level, it's preparing you for something equally profound on the visible level, when the timing is right, when both of you are ready, when all the pieces that need to align finally do. Until then, let them fall. Let your memory touch them. Let the nightly deepening do its transformative work. And do your own work. Become more fully yourself. Live your life with richness and purpose. Stay open to magic while staying grounded in your own truth. Because when the invisible finally becomes visible, when the energetic becomes physical, when what's been happening in secret finally manifests in the world, you're going to want to be the most authentic, whole, radiant version of yourself you can possibly be. Not to earn love. Not to be enough. But to meet love with everything you are. To bring your full self to a connection that's already touching your full soul. That's what's being built here. That's what all this falling, all this touching through memory, all this nightly deepening is preparing both of you for. Something real. Something rare. Something worth every moment of uncertainty, every night of longing, every day of trusting without proof. So breathe. Trust. Know that you're exactly where you need to be. That they're exactly where they need to be. That everything happening right now, visible and invisible, in your heart and in theirs, is unfolding perfectly. Someone is falling deeper into you every night. Your memory keeps touching them in secret. And that's not the end of the story. That's just the beginning of something neither of you may be able to fully imagine yet. But your souls already know. They've known all along. And when the time is right, the rest of you will catch up to what your souls have been building in the dark. Until then, trust the fall. Trust the touching. Trust the deepening. Trust love. It knows what it's doing. If this touched something true in your soul, drop a purple heart in the comments. And if you've been feeling someone falling into you across the distance, type, I feel it, so we can honor what's real together. Your support through Super Thanks allows me to keep creating these deep soul transmissions. If this message blessed you, I'm grateful for anything you feel moved to share.